Since we're telling secrets and letting new information out of the bag here tonight, Freestyle 14 coming up, we're actually going to expand to 9 kids.
The font on the heel of the shoe is number 2, and we were trying to figure out what font it is, and it's actually KYRIE's handwriting. And so we can't like download that file and replicate it. And so to be authentic, because Andy wanted 0 on the back of one shoe, 2 on the back of the other, to kind of let it be KYRIE's shoe, but also let it be his shoe, we needed KYRIE's actual writing.
Okay, my name is Michael Doherty. I am Creative Director of Brand Presentation. I won't get into what that means, but just trust me, it's a real job. And I'm at Nike, but I'm also here to kind of kick things off, and I'll be brief, but I'm going to give you a little history of this program, Freestyle. He attends the international school and plays soccer, basketball, and baseball. And he was treated at Doernbecher Children's Hospital for a life-threatening injury sustained when a log rolled over him on the beach, breaking bones and injuring internal organs. The story's incredible, which you're going to hear. 2 members of Andy's design team are with us tonight. They are Raleigh Willard. Raleigh, a full development. Raleigh takes the drawings and ideas from our designers and works with our manufacturing teams in Asia to make them real. Anna Malek, a footwear material designer. Put it very, to be very technical. She designs what shoes are made out of. Yeah. From fabrics to leather down to the small details like laces. My team, KYRIE, over here. KYRIE designed the Nike Dunk Sky High for the Doernbecher Freestyle collection in 2013 when she was just a child of 17. Today she's a 21-year-old student at Drexel University in Philadelphia. Where she majors in fashion design. She recently completed a 6-month fashion design internship in New York City. She was treated at Doernbecher for a debilitating obsessive compulsive disorder. KYRIE is a powerful advocate for the importance of seeking treatment for mental illness. KYRIE designed the Freestyle collection with Brooke Rapp. Brooke. Brooke's the footwear developer for Nike Sportswear Running. She's like a general contractor for shoemaking. She's accountable for timelines, cost, and engineering of the shoe. And then Jen Scholes, a senior footwear color designer manager. Jen designs seasonal color footwear solutions for athletes based on trends, insights, and marketplace needs. So that's the 2 teams you're going to hear from today. I'm going to get out of the way, but first I'm going to introduce Lee Banks. I'm going to introduce Lee is the man who puts all this together from the beginning to the end.
Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate your time tonight. We're going to get you a little sneak peek behind the scenes of Doernbecher Freestyle and how the whole process works. So, Andy, obviously you made a big impression on the folks up at Doernbecher when you were there because they obviously nominated you to program. Tell us a little bit about what you thought when you found out, oh my gosh, I didn't pay for this program.
Well, I didn't really know much about shoes when I first got chosen for this, but when I was in the hospital, me and my parents would always go by the shoe display, and we would marvel at how cool the shoes were. And so when I heard that I would get to do that, I was really excited because I knew that I would get to do what those other kids had done.
Cool. So one of the first things that we do is we get a questionnaire about all the kids so we can get to learn a little bit more about them and make sure that we're giving them a great experience in the program. And one of the things we found out right away from your questionnaire is you love basketball, right? So we knew right away that we had to, let you work on KYRIE's shoe, the KYRIE 2. So if we can flip to the next slide, this is what we sent you. And so for you to start your designs. So walk us through a little bit, like what's your thought process when we come see you at the hospital and we hand you this big blank sheet of paper and we say, here you go.
Well, I didn't really know where to start, but I did know that I wanted to thank everybody that helped me. So I had some ideas, like some colors, the blue and white for my basketball team and the red and teal for my baseball league. And so I just brainstormed on the paper.
Little sneak peek now, we're going to flip to this is what you sent back to us. This is really cool. So there's a lot going on here. And I know you talked a little bit in the video about some of the things that are on the shoe and some of the things you incorporated in there. Take us through some of your favorite things that you put in there and why.
Well, the joy swoosh, right here you can see the Nike swoosh that says joy in it. That represents my Aunt Peggy. She was diagnosed with cancer, and we were recovering at the same time, so we would support each other through FaceTime or text. And in the last part of her life, she wanted to find joy in everything that she did, and so that's kind of my way of honoring her on my shoe. And then the KV stands for Candace Vinson, my physical therapist, and she really helped support me, and she helped me get better the fastest that I could. Grass Strong is a tagline that a parent from my school made to help my family during my recovery. And so I wanted to put that on there. So it's like the grass and then strong. But on my shoe now it's just grass.
That works. As Michael said, it has grown in scope now that it's about 75 people every year at Nike now that come together around these 6 kids to donate their time and their passion and their talent and their energy to really pull this all together and make sure that everybody has an amazing experience. So you two were obviously part of Andy's team this year, and so in early April is when we usually get the teams together, kind of give them a look at everything. And so we had a big envelope full of Andy's designs. I can't remember, did he only send back one or did he have multiple options?
Just one in there.
Just one. So you knew exactly what you wanted. No pressure to deliver. Okay. So as a designer, like, what goes through your mind when you see this?
Yeah, I mean, I was just generally excited, like reading his questionnaire and stuff, and trying to think of materials that could relate to grass, and also just I think I liked how graphic it was, but a lot of it was still white, so I was like, okay, I need to talk to him and figure out and show him things. So I was just excited to get started.
Raleigh, now you have to take this and actually know Andy's story and turn this into something real. Walk us through that process and some of the challenges, hurdles, and obstacles.
Yeah, how much time do we have? Everyone's gonna be here until midnight. It's a long process. This is normally our product creation process. We have about 18 months from this stage to the time when it's finished. And in Andy's case, this is the fastest project I've worked on, for sure. I've never worked on a performance basketball shoe. I work in NSW. I've never worked on a KYRIE shoe. I've never worked with a kid like Andy. And so immediately the day we got our packet, Anand and I sat down and figured out, I've got to talk to the performance basketball team. I have to figure out, I don't know anything about the KYRIE 2. What's been done on the KYRIE 2, what hasn't, and I think even that afternoon we had a meeting set up with the performance basketball team to figure out, okay, what have you guys done on the shoe that worked and did not work, so we can learn from your mistakes quickly. I think it was within a week we had something that looked similar, pieces, not a completed shoe, but just parts of shoes. It was great that Andy was in Beaverton, and so we'd call him up and say, hey, we've got some pieces, or a shoelace, or a strap, or some swoosh components to look at. And it ended up being, how quickly can I talk to as many teams as I can on campus? Everybody is willing to information share. No one's calendar was busy when I said, I'm working on the Doernbecher project, I need your ear for 15 minutes. I had a lot of conversations in the lobby or in hallways, as people would say, hey, I'm between two meetings, but I want to make time to answer your questions to make sure that the shoe is going to be successful. And it was a lot of that for a couple months until we were locked in, and then we couldn't make any more changes. So.
Nice. So Raleigh has tipped off one of the kind of inside pieces of information that I don't think we've ever talked about publicly before, and that is the notion that when we get Nike folks that work on this project, we purposefully give them opportunities to work with teammates that they've never worked with before on products that they've never worked on before, so that they can just kind of expand their network within Nike, get to meet new factory partners, and actually get out of a little bit of the normal kind of repetitive nature of kind of working on the same products all the time. So by the time we get to the middle to end part of June, we actually have some first prototypes back that we're reviewing. What goes through your mind the first time you see your shoe in person? Like this thing that you've drawn, it's like real.
It was really exciting to see it because before that it was kind of just some imaginary thing that we were working on, and it was really cool to see it in person.
I've been doing this for a long time with Michael, and I still think it's super cool, like the first time you get to see something like that that's just on paper come to life. So if we flip over to the next slide, you can see kind of like the graphs on the sock line, you talk about Andy, and then a little bit of kind of like some of the prototype pieces and everything. And after you saw your shoe for the first time, like, did you make a lot of changes? Was it pretty much what you wanted?
Well, the general gist of it was what I wanted, but there were like a couple things that I wanted to change. Like, you see the shoe right there, like the color of this part, whatever.
Yep.
The strap. And then, yeah.
A few. Okay, that's pretty good. So if we go to the next slide, this is, I think, one of the coolest parts of your story. What is that? What are we looking at?
These were some phrases that KYRIE wrote. I was really privileged to have KYRIE as the shoe owner because he was really active in how he worked with me. Like, he wrote those, I heard in like the playoffs at halftime or something. So I was really privileged to have KYRIE as my shoe owner.
Pretty cool. I think you worked hard to make that happen, Raleigh. You want to give us a little inside scoop?
Yeah, again, to this idea that everybody is willing to help when it comes to Doernbecher. So if an email has help, Doernbecher project, in the subject line, people are willing. So I didn't know who to reach out to. I started talking to people. Hey, if I want to talk to Kyrie Irving, who do I talk to? And I get passed to someone who's his agent, his Nike contact. And I send this guy an email. It's during the playoffs, like Andy mentioned, which is like a blackout. From what I understand, it's a blackout here. We don't talk to athletes during the playoffs because they're in the zone, like nonstop. But we really wanted to add this personal touch. And we weren't telling Andy about it at the time. We wanted to add this personal touch of KYRIE writing some phrases: never give up, grass strong, number 0, which was Andy's number. We wanted to use those elements on the shoe that were specific from KYRIE. Part of how that started was the font on the heel of the shoe is number 2, and we were trying to figure out what font it is, and it's actually KYRIE's handwriting. And so we can't like download that file and replicate it. And so to be authentic, because Andy wanted 0 on the back of one shoe, 2 on the back of the other, to kind of let it be KYRIE's shoe, but also let it be his shoe. we needed KYRIE's actual writing. And immediately people said, yes, it's the playoffs, but you know what? We'll meet with him at halftime. Tell us what we need him to write down, and we're going to write it down. And he was thrilled to participate with it. So
That's awesome.
yeah, and next thing you know, I've got that in my office, and it's like,
That is cool. And just to wrap up on KYRIE, he wore your shoe in a game against Portland. And we'll move on to the next slide. So, this is a really cool feature that I think is a little bit hidden on Andy's shoe. As a materials designer, I'm sure this posed a little bit of an interesting situation for you. Can you tell us about what Andy was working on here?
Yeah, so the writing on the strap is made out of a material that is activated by sunlight. So when the sun hits it, it changes color from white to blue. And normally, like, using that vendor is not really approved, like through Nike, like they're not. But Doernbecher, so. But yeah, so that was like Ronnie said, like with Doernbecher, we were able to do like anything. Like normally, if I tried to do that inline, like I would probably be fired. But I would just, it wouldn't happen. So yeah, so we worked on like getting that approved very quickly, and we thought that'd be just like a cool little surprise element. And I think Andy had talked in his story about when he was recovering, just not being able to go outside and play, and so we thought that'd be a cool like story element of like when you go outside. And hopefully it's sunny in Portland one day. You can see that little feature then.
Cool. And I'm just going to go back to the phrase, we got that approved quickly. Excellent. Awesome. All right, so last little hidden detail. What's your mom think?
I think she felt privileged.
And she's here.
I think she's really excited and happy.
We'll leave it at that. That's awesome. Absolutely. Gotta have the shout out to mom on there for sure. Okay, so it's called Design for Kicks, but you can see you're wearing it. We've got a sample up here. You also designed a hoodie for us to go with your shoes. Anything you want to let us know about the hoodie and that process on how you went about designing that pretty cool piece of apparel?
Well, inside the hoodie are the names of some of my doctors and nurses. I wanted to put them in there because they're the ones that saved my life, and so I wanted to honor them on my shoe.
That's pretty awesome. Last but not least, favorite part of the process and the program?
So it's hard to say, but I think when we finally we like oversampled the shoe because we didn't have that much time. And I think when we got all our samples, just seeing Andy like really open up and like get excited and make really quick decisions, like I think that's my favorite part of collaborating with anyone, is just to see what they're passionate about, and like that really came out that first round of shoes, like, and yeah, I think that was probably my favorite.
Cool. Raleigh, same question.
A highlight is it's hard to pass up the auction night when you see the culmination of the shoe, and it's a big celebration and it's fun to see it finally unveiled. And then to see the amount of money that gets raised off of the work that we have put in. And ultimately to me it's people are resonating with Andy's story. That is like our job with this, is how do we hear from Andy, how do we meet him, help take his ideas and put them into the shoe. And I feel like people really resonated with that, and it showed. Lots of money was raised. It was emotional to see people in a bidding war over the shoe. It was hard to beat that as far as the highlight, but
super cool. So, not to brag, Andy, but do you want to tell people how much your shoe sold for at the auction?
It sold for $99,000.
I got goosebumps just hearing that. That's awesome. Yeah, so that whole process literally starts in January, and we pretty much have the product confirmed and finalized by the middle of July. We then go out and build it and have our auction usually the probably end of October, and it's in retail in November. So it's a fast project. And Andy, you certainly did an amazing job this past year. Thank you so much for being part of our program. I think kind of overall, the timing and the process of what you did was really kind of pretty similar to Andy's, but for you, I think there was kind of one big difference. You actually participated in this program with your twin sister. And I would love for you to just tell us a little bit about like how was that and how did that make this experience different for you?
My personal story is one of mental health, and it was very much entwined with the story of my sister. And so when they first had us chosen for the program, they were like, "Oh, you guys can design like a shoe together." And then we were like, "Well, actually, can we design our own shoes? You know, and like we have our own, aspects and design ideas to put into it." And so we ended up being able to design our own shoes, and that was really a good chance for me to be able to express my individuality, and that was something that I struggled a lot with when I was going through my. So I was treated Doernbecher for my debilitating obsessive compulsive disorder by the amazing Dr. Jet Milani. He's right over there. Without him, I really wouldn't be here. He really saved my life, so I'm very grateful to Doernbecher for all that. It's interesting because when you're a twin, you get looped in with your twin a lot, and we're very close. We're best friends. But through OHSU, we really were able to show our different personalities in our design aesthetics. So I really was I'm very drawn to Victorian era kind of fashion, and I'm very inspired by Alice in Wonderland. Those were the two driving factors in how I designed my shoe. And I pretty much knew right away what I was going to do with my shoe. I had a lot of sketches that I was thinking. I had a couple of different ideas, but I was really kind of heart set on this idea I had.
Well, I was going to say, after we got your questionnaire back to start, we pretty much knew that was the model for you. So really, really clear on that. Yes, because we had you and your sister in the program, that actually was the first time we had ever actually expanded the program to 7 kids in 1 year. And since we're telling secrets and letting new information out of the bag here tonight, Freestyle 14 coming up, we're actually going to expand to 9 kids. Yeah, we are too. It's super cool. So stay tuned. Michael's going to tell you a little bit more about it at the end. So if we flip to the next slide, this is your original design sketches that you gave back to us. And so I think you had a pretty clear theme from the start, very, very true in that regard. How do you kind of work through combining all those different elements into one? And how does your team help you do that?
Yeah, well, you can definitely tell I had a lot of ideas, and I really wanted to put a lot of that on the shoe. And there's only so much space in the shoe, and I had all these ideas, and I want to put as much as I can. And I think my design team helped me create a more, cohesive image, something that is easier to look at and, isn't as busy as what I was thinking of. But it's because I had, all these ideas I really wanted to create. But I had, this very clear idea that I wanted this lace overlay on top of red, like I drew there. And they helped me make that a reality. I got to go into the Nike's materials library and just to see all the different materials you can possibly put in the shoe was just amazing. Like that was probably my favorite part of the whole experience because I was just like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this. And I was like layering things on top of each other. And I'm like, oh, what if I did this? And they were, there to let me know what could be done, what materials work well together, what, the properties of each of the materials. And so I was able to do that lace, and I was able to do some embossing and a lot of little details that I was just like I drew in that first one, that little lace part right beneath where the laces are, I have a little bow and stuff. I was like, I want a bow and I want a little lace section there. And they're like, okay, it's not already on the shoe, so how are we gonna do that? And we went through all these different models, and we eventually had this little cutout that we laced in with the laces, and then we put the little bow on top. And it was awesome because I just had these very clear ideas, and they were like, okay, let's take what we can do and we'll show you how we can make this a reality.
Yeah. So if you flip to the next slide, Jen, these are some of your kind of initial explorations with KYRIE. What was this like from your side of the equation and all of this that's going on?
Well, thanks, Lee, for having us here tonight. It was an amazing experience and probably the best experience I've ever had at Nike in 15 years. I think with this, it all came down to the storytelling. And great stories come from inspiration, and inspiration creates great stories, and KYRIE had one. And it was so easy to work with her and be inspired as a designer and kind of take the reins off of all our normal restraints that we have in our cycle of producing products. And it didn't matter how much time it took, even though it was a very short timeline. It was all about KYRIE. And so I think what we did is when we got her initial designs, as you saw before, they were very focused. And because she was such an articulate and vulnerable designer and sharing in her story, we could quickly do some quick mock-ups of a 3D design of her shoe. We, like she said, we met up in the design materials library and we just kind of played and kind of listened to her. And that was the root of everything, just listening to KYRIE, her story. And then what we did is we invited her back to campus and we did a photo shoot. And I said, let's start to, and this is KYRIE on campus. I said, you know what, when you come back in here, I want you to dress up like you. How would you be you? Not, you know, like on paper. And she did. And as you see in her outfit there, that is the shoe. And so we really tapped into not only her and her illness and her struggles and challenges through that journey, but we got to be a part of her style. We found out that she's a writer, an excellent writer, and so we wanted to put a part of that in her journey on the back. Even though it's small, it's in there. Not only her personal style, but also, as you see, she has a corset, and so we made sure that would happen. Nice little details like that. This outsole.
So if we flip to the next slide, we actually have some of all of those details that got incorporated in this
And she, like she said, Alice in Wonderland was a big part of her connection and in that storyline. And I think to sum it up was the key. The key symbolized so many things. Today I pulled this shoe out and it was like a time capsule for me, kind of going back in time, reliving this. That key just unlocked the future, and the story just begins now with her. And I think it inspired the apparel as well. So
That's cool.
It's a natural process.
So, Brooke, obviously a lot going on the shoe. How do you dive in and make sure that all of this amazing storytelling with these details like comes to life?
I think the hardest part when you're working as a developer is making sure you can take a vision and make it come to life. And with the KYRIE, it was super easy because she was so clear about what she wanted. So as soon as we got the direction, I started making notes, and I felt really confident about the direction we were going. And we had the benefit of working with one of our factory partners who's really like amazing with their detailing and their kind of like finishing effects of shoes. They work on a lot of high-end products. So I knew when I sent it over to them, it was with confidence that they could really put that finishing detail and like the elements of style that she really wanted and execute on it well. So it was like just a great partnership between us giving clear direction and then sending that over to our Asia partners who also kind of helped execute that in a really authentic way. And I think we tried out a couple different options, and if you look at her first drawings, you'll see she kind of melded the two together with like her favorite parts of both. So from my side, I did a lot of what Raleigh did, just calling up people like lace. I mean, putting that on a shoe is like a nightmare because it's so delicate. So it's like, okay, well, what can we do to make that happen? And so it was really just working through those details, but just making it all come to life was just a partnership between all of us in the factory.
That's great. If we flip to the next slide, I think we'll give you a little sneak peek at how the process actually works. So who's taping material swatches on the cab here?
Jen is very super detailed.
I think, well, it was quite a collaborative process, I think, in general. Definitely Brooke stepped in with all the material numbers and all the details that way. I just cut and put them on, and she picked it. It's all Kira.
That's awesome. So on the next slide, you can see the first prototype that came back. And here, it's pretty close to the final one. So
Yeah.
what did you think when you saw that?
I was just amazed to see that, my idea came to life. It was the first time as a designer I ever got to see something that I had drawn on paper come in to be an actual product and actual reality. And that was so cool to see that. And I remember the only big change we made is we made the bow, black, and we added a little lace detail in front. And then we went through a lot to try to get the tinted outsole to be more transparent so we could see that I drew the whole outsole. It's kind of hard to tell because mine are dirty. But this one's better.
And I think I can share that I'm pretty sure KYRIE shoe was the first time that our Nike legal department ever had to go research English copyright law to get to the list of what's on it had to be done. Yeah, I guess if there's an upside, he had been deceased for more than 100 years, so we were in the clear. But that was the first one for us. So last question. It's been 4 years now since you participated in the program, and I'm really curious, like, in that intervening time, like, how has participating in this program changed your direction in life, or just has it made a difference?
Absolutely. I mean, I'd say, like, I was already interested in fashion before doing this. It was really a big passion of mine, but being able to go into Nike and really see how the whole process is done from the original ideas to the final production was incredible for me as someone looking to be a fashion designer. And that really got me my start and my first initial ideas of what the fashion industry was going to be like. And so I have a whole team of really supportive designers and developers that really helped me understand. And I talked to all of them, like, oh, where'd you go to school? What kind of, education should I go after if I want to do this? And so now I'm a fashion design major at Drexel in my third year. And I'll be graduating soon. I have business cards if anybody wants them. Find me afterwards.
With her shoe on them, by the way.
Oh yeah, they're very pretty, I promise. and now it's an item I can have on my resume and in my portfolio, and it's something I can show people and be like, this is something I've done. And not only has it been an incredible way to share my story and to advocate for mental health awareness, but it's also been a great jumpstart kind of in my career. And it's a great opportunity, even if I think the kid is not going to go into fashion design, it's a great opportunity for all the kids in this program to be able to say, look what I did. There are 900 pairs of shoe I designed that exist in the world. And that's just mind-blowing. Be like, that's my little claim to fame. That's something I did. And maybe I'm so proud when I was, just saw final production. I was like, a whole bunch of people helped me make this a reality.
Super cool. You should be proud. That was awesome. So I hope that gives you a little flavor into kind of the program and how we run this. And I've been here for all 14 years of Michael's journey through this, and I just got to say, one of the coolest things about this program is that at the end of the day, when you get to know these kids, these products are truly them. It's their personality in everything they create, and that is just this pure expression of youth culture, and it's fantastic to be a part of and see how they come to life in these and are really celebrated for how creative they are and how good they are at these things. And I never get over that, and yours certainly is no exception to that. So thank you so much for leaving your legacy in our little program. We appreciate it. With that, I think I'd like to invite Michael to come back up, and I think we're absolutely happy to open it up to Q&A for anything and everything.
So as a secret, I have to kind of ask, how do you guys feel about the aftermarket value and the reselling that happens of your charity shoes?
We have no control over it, but the collectors, we can speak. I don't have to.
But I want to say follow that.
Well, I mean, what we're referring to is, okay, so somebody goes online and they get the shoes or whatever because these collectors, and then they wound up on, you know, eBay or whatever, and then for 2 or 3 times, or sometimes an incredible amount of money, because some of these shoes are very valuable because they're so unique. But we have no control over that, so we just live with it. If somebody's going to be that slimy, then go ahead, you know, instead of like paying some back that you can't control.
Yeah, I do want to say, as a designer, I like to look online and see. It's interesting to see people start doing that, because I mean, well, it's a shame that, you know, people marking it up are profiting off of this, which is something that, you know, is a charity event. And it's about Doernbecher, but it's also kind of somewhat flattering as a designer that people are so interested and that there's such a value placed on your shoe. So there's kind of 2 sides to that, but we're appreciative to the sneakerhead community for their interest in the program, and for keeping the interest alive outside of just, you know, rich Portland circles. You know, like it's something that we really want to spread around to, you know, the country and be able to share the stories with as many people as we can. And I appreciate people who are just coming for the shoes, staying to listen to the stories. I think that's important.
I got a question for the 2 designers. What is your most memorable moment in the shoes and why?
So one time we were at a basketball tournament at the hoop, and there was this girl that came up to me and my dad over there, and she was like, "You're wearing those Doernbecher shoes. How did you get those?" And I said, "Well, I designed them." And she was like, "Really, you did?" And then she was like, "Can I take a picture with you?" I have my phone, and then Dad was like, "Okay, I'll take a picture for you guys." And then we took a picture. And then the next week she was there again. And Dad had brought some of my socks for her, and we gave them to her as a present.
I don't know if I have as much of a specific story, but I do wear them a lot, and I often get compliments, and it's great to be able to say, "Thanks, I designed them," and be like, "What?" And then you have this little story to tell. But also, my doctor, Dr. Milani, keeps a pair of my shoes and my sister's shoes in his office, so people can look at them. So hopefully, you know, I like to think he gets nice comments when they're out there. But I think my cousin was wearing them in like a Walmart, and a random checker happened to know about freestyle. So things like that are cool, and just, you know, having people notice that.
Anyway, there we are, Friday, October 27th, the unveiling and the auction. Stay tuned to the Doernbecher Foundation, because we do, as Lee mentioned, we've got another program that's again local, and it's very cool that we're adding to this. So when somebody asked, how are you going to branch out? Well, this is an opportunity. We're going to do it in the sports zone that we're really very excited about. And I hope that you enjoyed it, because we love telling our stories. So thanks for coming.